This is Hayes Q Jones, your DVD and Blu-ray baller on a budget, and this is HQ Videos for you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please like, share, subscribe. If you're a current subscriber, what's up? You're greatly appreciated. Come on in, make yourself at home. You know the routine. This week's collection video takes me to the Planet of the Apes series. Really excited. Wife already has tickets for this coming Sunday, Mother's Day, for the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So we decided to prepare for it to watch the original, the reboot, starting with the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And we're watching this, and I'm telling you, you realize this is like actually a prequel to the original 1968 Planet of the Apes. She's like, no, it's a remake. There's too many differences or too many conflicting stories. We're like, no, this actually goes into how the simians became intelligent, came to power, and how the humans came to their demise or to their decline. And I'm just going to go over, if you want to watch this in chronological order, the order that it should be in. And just think of this as very similar to Star Wars. When Star Wars came out, they came up with Star Wars and 2 following movies. Then years later, they did the reboot, which was actually a prequel to Star Wars, giving the backstory of Luke Skywalker, Leia, Anakin, Darth Vader, Ben Kenobi, the whole 9. Same thing in Planet of the Apes. So I'm going to go over how they dropped chronologically as far as the first one, 1968, as well as if you want to watch them in chronological order, how it makes most sense. We'll go over that also. So sit back, relax, have a drink of a smoke, and I'll catch you on the other end of this video. Going to kick it off with the first movie in the series, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. This came out in 2011, starring Andy Serkis, Karen Connell, Terry Notary, Richard Ridings, Christopher Gordon, directed by Rupert Wyatt, written by Pierre Boulez. This has the scientist Will Rodman. He's determined to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease, which has slowly consumed his father, played by John Lithgow. Will feels certain he is close to a breakthrough and tests his latest serum on apes, noticing dramatic increases in intelligence and brain activity in the primate subjects, especially Caesar, his pet chimpanzee. Fantastic way to kick off the series. It goes into the drug that actually created these intelligent apes, as well as what started the demise of the humans. So this is a great kickoff, and it gives a lot of references to the original Planet of the Apes. The next installment of the series is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This dropped 2014, starring Andy Serkis, Jason Clarke, Gary Oldman, Kerry Russell, Toby Kebbell, directed by Matt Reeves, written by Pierre Boulez. With this one, a group of scientists, and this takes place maybe around 15 years after the original movie, a group of scientists in San Francisco are struggling to stay alive in the aftermath of the simian plague, which is wiping out humanity, while Caesar tries to maintain dominance over his community of intelligent apes. Great second installment. This one is actually in 3D. Did a great job on the 3D. There's no pop also, but great depth of picture. They did a great job of staying to the storyline of Caesar, which is pretty much in the first 4 movies. In the second movie, they tell you the rise of Caesar and his first famous words of no. So they did an excellent job of referring back to the original show and setting you up for the next movies in the series. The next installment is the 2017 War of the Planet of the Apes, starring Andy Serkis, Woody Harrelson, Steve Zahn, Karen Konoval, Amaya Miller, directed by Matt Reeves, this time directed by Matt Reeves. In this installment, Caesar and his apes are forced into the deadly conflict with an army of humans led by the ruthless colonel, played by Woody Harrelson. After apes suffer unimaginable losses, Caesar wrestles with his darker instincts and begins his own mythic quest to avenge his kind. As the journey progresses, it finally brings them face to face with the colonel, and they're pitted against each other in an epic battle that determines the fate of both races, or both species, and the future of the planet. Do an excellent job delving more into what causes the demise of the humans, as well as what brings up the uprising of the intelligent apes. And it does a great job of creating a moral dilemma. As a human being, you want the humans to progress, but you want to be humane to another species that have the right to exist also. So it does a great job of comparing and contrasting the pluses and minuses of the simians rising to power and the humans pretty much facing their demise. Great job on the 3D. Great job for setting it up for the next movie. After reading a little bit about the next movie, there's a little trickery with the little girl and her name. I don't give any spoilers away though, but it made me think that the next movie might only be a few years after this last movie though, but wait for the next one. The next movie is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is dropping 2024. This is the fourth installment of the Planet of the Apes reboot franchise and the 10th film overall. This was directed by Josh Friedman, directed by Wes Ball, written by Josh Friedman, starring Owen Teague, Freya Allen, Kevin Durand, Peter Bacon, and William H. Macy. With this one, it's taking place 300 years after the event of war. So it's after the last movie. A young chimpanzee named Noah embarks on a journey alongside a human woman named May to determine the future of apes and human alike. And this threw me off a little bit based on the last movie. The last movie, I thought was going to take place or pick up where the little girl left off, but it's going 300 years later. So I'm not exactly sure how they're going to link this one with the original Planet of the Apes. Also a little disappointing, it's not in 3D. The last two, they did a pretty good job in 3D. No pop also, but still great depth. And it 3D draws you into the movie though. So a little disappointed in that though, but still looking forward to this 10th installment of Planet of the Apes. The next installment is the actual original Planet of the Apes. This dropped in 1968, starring Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowall, Kim Hunter, Maurice Evans, James Whitmore. This is directed by Franklin Schaffner, written by Pierre Boulez. In this installment, a group of U.S. astronauts land on a desolate planet essentially run by apes who use primitive race of humans for experimentation and sport. Soon the astronauts find themselves being hunted and at the hands of a benevolent chimpanzee scientist. And this is just an amazing movie, which they don't give Rod Serling any credits. He was one of the original screenwriters, and they use parts of his script though, but his script probably more comes to light in the actual revamp of the Planet of the Apes. The next installment, this will be Beneath the Planet of the Apes. This dropped in 1970, starring Jane Franciscus, Kim Hunter, Maurice Evans, Linda Harrison, Paul Richards, directed by Ted Post, written by Pierre Boulez. With this one, another astronaut, Brent, is set on a rescue mission to find the first astronauts that took the adventure to this desolate planet. He finds himself on the same desolate planet, being pretty much abducted by the simians in search of his lost comrades. And Great follow-up to the original. They kept the majority of the same cast, which I love, same production value, great sequel to the original Planet of the Apes. Next, we have Escape from the Planet of the Apes. This dropped in 1971, starring Roddy McDowall, Kim Hunter, Bradford Dillman, Natalie Trundy, and Eric Bardin. With this one, again, don't want to give too many spoilers away though, but the chimps go back in time and they find themselves kind of the toast of society, but one person believes that something's not necessarily right about these chimpanzees that can actually speak, and you think it might possibly cause the demise of the human race. This one, you can start to see the production value go down a little bit. The costumes aren't quite as good as the first two movies though, but still very solid movie. The next installment in the Planet of the Apes series is the 1972 Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, starring Roddy McDowall, Don Murray, Ricardo Montalban from Fantasy Island, Natalie Trundy, Severin Darden. This is directed by J. Lee Thompson, written by Pierre Boulez. This is a more futuristic world that's embraced ape slavery. Caesar, the son of late simians, surfaces almost 20 years from hiding from the authorities and prepares a slave revolt against humanity. And this is where you start seeing the series start going down a little bit. And the costumes, design, storyline is still pretty cool. They make some very strong parallel between American slavery and ape slavery. So they actually have this conversation with one of the black characters in there, making that comparison. Out of the series, not one of the stronger ones though, but still a very solid movie. The next one and the last from the first set of movies is the 1973 Battle for the Planet of the Apes. This stars Roddy McDowall, Claude Atkins, Natalie Trundy, Severin Darden, Lou Ayres. It's directed by J. Lee Thompson, written by Pierre Boulez. And in this last installment, after the collapse of the human civilization, a community of intelligent apes led by Caesar live in harmony with a group of humans. The guerrilla general Adel tries to cause the ape civil war, and with a community of human mutants who live beneath a destroyed city to try to conquer those they perceive as enemies, all leading to the great finale. Out of the first series, this by far is the weakest. You can kind of tell with the makeup of the simians, of the apes, and it just seemed like it was kind of thrown together kind of willy-nilly though. So, but it did give you a little closure to the whole series of the Planet of the Apes. So those are the series or the Planet of the Apes in chronological order. Hold on for a second. I'm going to show you the physical copies I have. Then I'll get you good people on your way. Hold on. The last and probably the least, I didn't say the best for last. This is the 2001 remake of the Planet of the Apes, starring Mark Wahlberg, aka Marky Mark, Tim Roth, Helena Bonham Carter, Michael Clark Duncan, the late Michael Clark Duncan, Paul Giamatti. This is directed by Tim Burton, written by Pierre Boulez. This one, after a spectacular crash landing on an uncharted planet, brash astronaut Leo Davison, played by Marky Mark, finds himself trapped in a savage world where talking apes dominate the human race. Desperate to find a way home, Leo must evade the invincible guerrilla army led by ruthless General Thade, played by Tim Roth. I'm surprised this movie didn't get the whole Planet of the Apes reboot canceled. I'll be a lot nicer than my wife. She said this is a horrible movie. It's not a great movie. Tim Burton maybe was not the best director to do this. Ironically, I was listening to a Paul Mooney comedy thing from way back, and he just happened to mention Planet of the Apes, and he was joking about how can Marky Mark walk around a planet for like 3 days, not have to shave. The final thing was, I'm not going to spoil it though, the last scene though could be construed as a little off, and I'll leave it at that. Now, I'm going to actually show you some of my physical collection of my Planet of the Apes, so hold on. We're back at the Black Cave. Back at the Black Cave. We are back at the motherfucking Black Cave. I'm just going to jump into my physical media collection of Planet of the Apes. Start out with the original five film collection. I'm going to do it in order in which they actually dropped. The first one, Planet of the Apes. It's with Charlton Heston, I believe Roddy McDowell. That's the first one. Yeah, the second one, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Again, great follow-up to a iconic movie. Third one, not bad, but you can kind of see them going down a little bit as far as the costumes. And with this, they didn't have as many apes, so they really only had like 2 or 3 apes they actually had to make up for. But still a solid movie, decent movie. Next one with Ricardo Montalban. This kind of goes into the mythology or the history of Caesar and the rise of the apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Then you have the last one, which I think, in my opinion, kind of spawned the television series, which I don't have. They only lasted, I think, 1 season. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. And that makes up the first 5. And this is the slipcover. Little flimsy here. A little flimsy, but still. That is the first 5. Then you got this one. I like Tim Burton. I just don't think he was the director for this movie. It went, I think, in a really wrong direction. It was a remake, not a sequel, not a prequel. A remake and not a very good remake. And all the apes look kind of funny to me. They looked, I don't know, it just didn't do a great job on the makeup for the apes, in my opinion. Remake Planet of the Apes with Marky Mark. Then you have the prequel series. Excellent. Oops. Do these in order. Rise of the Planet of the Apes with James Franco, John Lithgow, Andy Serkis. If you don't know who Andy Serkis is, he played Gollum in the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings trilogy. Of course, it's CGI though, but as far as the movements and all that, that's Andy Serkis. And if you want to know Andy Serkis, what he looks like without the makeup, he's in Black Panther. I think he's one of the villains of Black Panther. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Then you have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which actually came out in a steelbook in 3D. 3D is very cool. I like the 3D, especially since I just watched Dune a couple weeks ago in 3D. All the dark parts of Dune were just horrible. You could barely see anything. It was like all dark. They did a great job in the 3D. No pop out, but still great depth, great clarity. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes in 3D. And the last one before this one's coming out tomorrow, I believe Sunday on Mother's Day. You have War of the Planet of the Apes with Woody Harrelson. Great villain in this. Again, this is in 3D. Great job on the 3D. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's not in 3D, but I'm sure when it comes out, I'll be getting that on Blu-ray. And this is my Planet of the Apes collection in chronological order, whether chronological where they dropped or chronological how the story actually takes you. So, if you made it this far in the video, smash a like. Give me the big thumbs up. Other than that, may the best of your past be the worst of your future. Oh yeah, subscribe. Deuces.